Morning, welcome back in. It was a busy week on Capitol Hill. A new Speaker of the House in place and a budget deal done. Where are things headed from here? Joining us this morning with his opinion is Republican Congressman Gary Palmer from Alabama. Great to have you in. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
All right, first of all, in terms of Paul Ryan, first, did your constituents support Ryan, and did you vote accordingly?
Well, we got a lot of calls against Paul, but I voted for him. I know him. I see him practically every day. And the thing that people need to know is that there were some specific things that the Freedom Caucus, that group inside the House,
about 40 Republicans,
about 40 Republicans, and I'm a member of that, that really wanted it. Really didn't have anything to do with us. It had to do with the whole conference and getting us back to letting the committees do their jobs, letting the members of the House do their jobs. And when Paul gave his acceptance speech in the first 10 minutes, he hit every point.
Specifically, what you're talking about is, not everybody's voice was being heard. Is that correct, from all the members? And that's kind of a problem.
It's that, plus the committees weren't able to do their job on these big issues, like the budget deal, which was given to us, at midnight, 2 days before we had to vote for it.
Right.
And the committees didn't have a chance to work on it. And that was a huge problem. And there were several bills like that, and it just gotten to the point where it was a top-down operation, where it really people didn't have representative government.
And I want to talk about that budget deal in a moment. But from the outset, Paul Ryan has said, look, I want to work with Democrats. But then he went on all the Sunday morning talk shows and says, look, I'm not going to work with the president or the Democrats on immigration. So was that the right kind of message to send in terms of breaking down the gridlock? Right.
That was a lot of concern that people had about Paul, was that he was for amnesty, and I don't believe that. But I think Paul's on the right track. I think he is very strategic in his thinking, but he's also a policy guy. So it won't just be tactics; there'll be substance to it. And I think that's what you're going to see over the next 14 months. He was asked more than once about the efforts of Republicans to defund Planned Parenthood, and just kind of following up on what you just said, paraphrasing him, he's not interested in leverage tactics like using government shutdown and the debt ceiling and that sort of thing. Obviously, that loses some leverage in terms of Republicans, but he says he says the Republicans owe the country alternatives and ideas and should be clear on objectives that they can actually realistically achieve. Your thoughts? Well, that goes back to what I was saying from a policy perspective. I come, my background's a think tank, so I'm very solution-oriented, and I think Paul is too. So I think what you're going to see, instead of a lot of political rhetoric and trying to outmaneuver Democrats, we're going to see some real ideas being put forward to solve some of the problems that we're dealing with. In my brief discussions with him, we've already had some discussions about the Highway Trust Fund, and I think you're going to see some stuff dealing with regulatory reform and really reining in the federal agencies.
Talk about the challenge of him uniting the party, and also what are the chances of some compromises finally so that some legislation can actually be pushed through?
Well, there was a Super Bowl ad showing these cowboys on horses trying to herd cats.
Right.
Okay, that's
what it's going to be like.
Yeah,
that's not very optimistic, Congressman.
But I tell you, I think that our conference is more united. Of course, I've only been there, going on 11 months, but I really see some unity there. And I see people excited about Paul. And even though there were a lot of folks who were upset with what the Freedom Caucus did, I think privately a lot of the members realized this was what needed to be done. It was unsettling and uncomfortable. But we're where we need to be right now.
I know this is an unfair question as we wrap up, but I'm sure you did watch the debates. Who impressed you the most?
I was really impressed with Rubio, but I thought Ted Cruz had a great debate. It was his best performance so far, and particularly when he, as everybody's noted, when he took on the panel and went right down the line with everything that they had said. So
it had an impact. It resonated with a lot of Americans on that side. Yeah.
I really think everybody elevated their game.
All right. Congressman, thank you so much. I appreciate it.